A couple of players, one of the managers has normally come out, everyone's still in their dressing rooms, they're locked away. You've played in games like that. Is it just a moment just to go in and just decompress and just maybe calm down a bit before facing the cameras for both sets of players and manager?
Yeah, and there's a debrief as well in such a high tempo. There's a lot riding on this game for both teams. So you go in there, and I think every game throws up different things after the game as well. There'll be maybe arguments in the tunnel with a referee. I'm sure we would have been in there waiting for the referee probably and just to ask a few questions nicely without any swear words, I'm sure. But I think there's so many things that could be happening right now, but I think it's also it's taxing these type of games, not just physically, mentally.
Yeah. There's a lot of emotion that's been played and exalted on that pitch today, so I'm sure both teams now, like you're saying, are decompressing and gathering their thoughts and not analysing, but just thinking. I'm sure Martinelli is one of them players that he'll be thinking about that miss and opportunity he had to put the game out of sight. A
miss we'll take a look at in a minute. And look, I see people get frustrated with this because we sit here and say we don't want to talk about VAR and then we proceed to talk about VAR. But we are here to simply reflect what the football fans are talking about, the conversations they're having. Hello. And the truth is, the conversations the Arsenal fans leave here is not just about VAR, but it's about the constant inconsistency of VAR. You know, booing the referee off at the end, chanting 2-1 to the referee. So I think we should just go through these incidents. And look, we want to talk about the football, but we do need to talk about this. Let's first of all go to the Mancity penalty. So they're 1-0 down at this point, and then this happens. I'd love to hear from both of you on this because it, like the first incident, it has totally split opinion.
Yeah, the opportunity to get in is what we spoke about before, but then when he creates it, I think it's a penalty. But I also think Arsenal's is a penalty. Like you said, it's the inconsistencies of not allowing the referee to make the decision. The fact that you're allowing him to go and check this and not check the first one, I think that is where the frustration is. If you're asking him to do the same or have the same outcomes for both opportunities, I don't think people are as frustrated. Yes, you may not agree with the decisions, but you're allowing him to come to the same conclusion with the same process. But when the process is different, it's just frustrating.
At the end of the day, you pull someone's shirt anywhere else on the pitch, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So it's a penalty. There's no. I don't think there's any other way to look at that. Anywhere else on the pitch, whether you dive or you don't dive, which Bernardo Silva did do to get the penalty.
Just talk about the dive then, because that's the frustration.
Exaggerated fall, I'm going to say.
Exaggerated fall.
It's the exaggerated fall.
But before that, he makes Xhaka's feet have to work, and they don't work quick enough. Yeah. And then obviously there's desperation in Xhaka's mind then to resort to having to pull the shirt. But then if he doesn't dive, maybe we don't get the opportunity to go to VAR. Because the decision maybe doesn't get made.
Well, I think if he stays on his feet, the game just goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe, and then we don't get VAR and you don't get the penalty. So if I'm in a blue shirt, I'm in the blue camp, I am saying, make an exaggerated...
Welcome to the blue side.
No. Don't take liberty. You see what I'm saying? See what happens when they try and take a yard, they take a mile. Do you know what I mean? But no, I don't like diving. You don't want people to dive, but sometimes if you don't, the rules are that if you don't, you get punished.
Yeah. Well, what are you telling the player if you're the manager and you see that situation?
Go down.
Go down.
You have to go down there.
Which we all hate, but
he doesn't get
what happens. Look at
he doesn't get the
result.
VAR decision, the ability to have VAR look at it if he doesn't go down because the game just continues. And I think, listen, he does enough there to cause panic in Xhaka. And I don't think the Arsenal fans, when they see that, can really complain.
Hello, Peter Walton. Look, Peter, there is a real issue here, and we can't skirt around it anymore. We can't sit here and say that VAR did OK and the referee did OK. We have to get some leadership with VAR. We have to solve the inconsistency, whether it's Spurs-Liverpool the other day, whether it's here today, two incidents that you could argue need to be looked at. One of them is, one of them isn't. How can you make a case for it?
Lead us, Pete.
Well, let me lead you. First of all, I think there's two distinguishing factors on both the penalty ones. One is we could all see a clear evidence, and therefore Stuart Atwell was advised to have another look. And the other one is a very subjective, forensically analysed decision. So if I just want to pair it away, in terms of the inconsistency, yes, there has been inconsistency with VAR at the moment. We have seen it in previous weeks, and a little bit on today's game also. But really, when you analyse those decisions, that decision there for the Manchester City penalty kick probably wouldn't have been given had Xhaka not pulled his shirt. The shirt pull is the clear evidence required from the VAR to say to Stuart Atwell, there's a foul here, Mr Referee, perhaps you want to go and have a look at it. And he does go and have a look at it. What you have to remember, of course, is it's not the VAR making the decision, it's the referee. He has a second look at it. Yes, he's under pressure, of course he is. He's only gone over there because there's a clear and obvious error in the mind of the VAR. But the decision was, I don't think VAR would have intervened had Xhaka just put his foot across Bernard Silva and Silva's took the dive across it. I don't think he would have interfered. The reason he does interfere is because he can then show Stuart Atwell and look at the shirt pull, Stu. That's your clear evidence.
If Bernardo Silva doesn't dive, does it go to VAR?
No.
Just with the shirt pull?
Well, I don't think it would have been, because I don't think the shirt pull alone is enough to put him down. The dive, the exaggerated dive, is showing the VAR
Peter,
that there's enough there to put him down.
Peter, you've just said that's the reason why he went there. So if it's not enough, but it's the reason why he's gone to VAR, how can that?
It's the reason. The reason is the totality of it. As I said, I don't think it'd have gone if it had just been the knee on knee. But having the shirt pull there that is clear, nothing to do with football. That's not a challenge. It's a shirt pull. He's saying to Stuart, you better go and have a look at this, because the totality of that challenge may well be a foul. Your decision, Mr. Referee.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Don't be
even
confused.
More so now.
Don't be confused, because that's the evidence they require. If you then layer on the first one that we looked at in the first half, was it a penalty kick or not? You can argue it's a penalty kick, and I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't a penalty kick. But my argument is that you have to slow it down, forensically analyse it to come to the minute detail that Ramsdale may have got the player rather than
Peter, the problem is the referee on the field of play didn't give either. So the only way to give the penalty to Manchester City is by slowing it down and taking a look at it. So why not just let the referee see this angle here
and make a decision?
And make a decision on this. Yeah. And then no one can complain, because they say, look, he might look at that and go, well, actually, I think he just gets a bit of the ball. Or he might look at it and go, clearly takes the player's foot.
Yeah, and I take your point about the inconsistency of VAR coming in, and I can't sort of go against that. What I will say is that we don't referee the game in the slow motion. The slow motion is just used to show contact. And then if you layer on what the Premier League said at the start of the season, contact alone is not enough to give a foul in the area for a penalty kick. So that may well have played a part in the VAR's perception.
Pete, we've slowed that one down there that Ederson makes a tackle. We see that there's contact with the foot of the player before the ball. So that surely means it's a penalty, no?
I'm not going to argue with that, because when you slow it down and you look at it in a forensic way, there's a case there for a penalty kick. Absolutely right. But the point is, VAR has always been implemented to show everybody that it's a clear and obvious error. And really, are we having the game now played in minutiae detail that we have to go to that? Whereas if you look at the first one, you don't have to slow that down at all, and the person sitting in row Z can see the shirt pull.
You try going into the Arsenal dressing room now and explaining that to them.
Well, yeah, but they've signed up for it, Rio, because
they didn't sign up for it. They've been told they're going to do it.
We all know what VAR was brought in for. It wasn't brought in to look at every minutiae detail. It was brought in for the hand of God. And the Xhaka one is the shirt pull. But I will admit though, at the moment VAR is a little bit inconsistent with the way they come in. Yeah. I think the best thing is to leave it alone, let the on-field referee make the decision.
Yeah, and I agree with Jake's point. I've totally in that. You can't have, we'll look at one and we won't look at the other. Because in a change room, there's no way of justifying that for any player when you're in that battle out there. We'll look at that one for them, but we won't look at that one for you. You're just feeling hard done by at every single junction.
I comment, and that's why I'm not really sitting here trying to justify the decisions or what. I'm just trying to outline the subtle difference between the two today. I do think there's an inconsistent application of VAR at the moment.
Thanks, Pete.
We're not even Arsenal fans though, and we're sitting here feeling so frustrated about it.
We're not arguing about the decisions though, we were arguing about the procedure,
the implementation,
the process of it all, and as I said, that two fouls in the same place on the pitch, two different outcomes because the processes have been different. That's the frustration.
And it's hard for Pete. It must be hard for him as well to even sit there and explain that to us as hard as it is there. Then to implement the rules as well must be even more difficult.
And the real frustration, right, is that this works in other sports, it works in other leagues. The technology is okay. All the technologies is additional information. But it feels like what is being let down by the human element of it. So
I don't remember having these kind of frustrations in the Euros or the World Cup. It worked then. So
why did it work though? Because the referee was told, go to the monitor, have a look at it, then make your decision.
Maybe there's a cultural issue among the PGMOL that just some sort of leadership, someone needs to change. I don't know.
You want someone to lose their job at New Year? Is that what you're saying?
No, I want someone to be better at their job at New Year. That's what I'm saying. Right, let's have a look at.
And 11 clear of Chelsea. Manchester City 17 wins from their 21 games so far this season. Chelsea and Liverpool separated by a point, go head-to-head at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. Arsenal will be in fourth. Whatever happens, of course, is today. But, as I say, if West Ham were to beat Palace, they would nudge up to 34 points and just a point behind Arsenal, having played the same number of games. But Spurs, if they beat Watford in our next game, will suddenly be 2 points behind Arsenal with 2 games in hand.
West Ham manager David Moyes says he wants to build his team around England midfielder Declan Rice. Rice, 22, plays his 150th Premier League game for the Hammers when they visit Crystal Palace on New Year's Day. This season Rice has built on his Euro 2020 performances, attracting England's leading clubs, but his contract runs to 2024, with the option of another year. Declan's under a long contract, so from that point of view we've not got a big panic on, said Moyes. We've no intention of selling him, and I've said already many times, if we ever had to, it would be a shoot to the moon. My job is to keep building the club and the level up. We need players around Declan who are at a similar level. He has been a revelation for us this season and hopefully he keeps driving the team on. West Ham are in a strong position to retain the services of a player who will take over the club captaincy when Mark Noble retires at the end of the season. Moyes rates Rice as one of the top players in the Premier League at recovering the ball, thanks to his natural speed. The Hammers boss is also delighted that Rice has become a more consistent goal threat, as he has already gone past his best seasonal total by notching 3 times this term with half the campaign remaining. Advertisement. Evidently, though, there are improvements still to be made. If you break Declan down, you might look at really tidy players and say, I want you to become even better in your passing, said Moyes. So you can look at Frankie de Jong or Jorginho, but Declan is a bit of an all-rounder, and there's not many better.